Next, on this episode of The Nice Guys on Business.
Yeah, life isn't just about building a bigger business. It's not even just about family. All of these things are very important. Don't get me wrong. But like now my life's purpose is actually being clarified here. Like I'm realizing, wow, my life's purpose is to really redirect people back to what I believe matters most, which is relationships. Nobody on their deathbed says, hey, Doug, I'm about to die. Can you go get my IRA statement one more time? I just want to see, like, is the market up 10%? Like, what's up? What's going on? No one said, oh my gosh, like can I look at my Instagram following right before I, pass? Like,
right.
People want to know that their loved ones are close and the people that they cared about, like, care about them. Like, that's what people want to know at the end of their life. So for me, I'm realizing that's an important life calling.
What are we going to do today? Same thing we do every day, Pinky. Try to take over the world. Oh, and listen to the Nice Guys on Business podcast, of course. Go from where you are now to where you could be. Get expert tips to grow your business, to be more productive and more efficient, whether you're trying to build influence, grow your community, or make it rain. Best-selling author of Nice Guys Finish First, Doug Sandler, can lead the way. The Nice Guys on Business is produced by Turnkey Podcast Productions. Now, here's your host, Doug Sandler.
All right, nice guy community. As we all have probably experienced in today's noisy high-tech world, the disconnection from others can be just as loud as that technology. Well, enter Rich Wu. He's a podcast host, he's an author, and he's a wealth manager. And while Rich knows money, he's passionate about his role as a master connector. And I'm going to talk to him about that today. Rich, I'm excited to talk to you. Welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Doug, thanks for having me. Excited to do this.
How can somebody benefit from either knowing or being a master connector? Because I've seen a lot of guys do it, but I've seen it done well, and you definitely do it well. So how can somebody benefit from being a master connector? Let's start there.
I think how do you benefit from being a master connector? I think like life has a lot of challenges, a lot of things that people need to get done, and the reality is like you can't get everything done on your own, right? You need to have your kids have a shot to get into a good college. You need to know people who've done that before. Well, if you don't have any connections, like how are you going to do that? You need to find a good restaurant. You don't have the hours to do all the research. It's good to know people who know restaurants, right? And so if you're a connector or master connector in your words, having people to help you solve all of life's problems makes life a lot more fun and a lot more efficient. I would say, I don't know if most people are kind of connectors by nature or even want to be. So enter kind of the second thing that you're talking about, knowing a master connector, right? It's like that old saying, like, better than owning a boat, having a friend that does, right? So
Right.
I think most people are probably not wired to be like connectors, connection oriented. That's okay. The key there is to find someone and have someone like that in your life to then be that instrument to find other people or, find solutions to your problems.
Well, I always found that the statement or the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know, has always benefited me. And sometimes when I approach, whether it's a podcast interview and I'm looking at it and I can't talk the talk, but I can certainly come at it with third grade curiosity. And sometimes being a master connector means shutting up, getting out of the way, and letting somebody else be a pro in that particular space. Sometimes it serves you well, but where do you draw the line between, look, you deal with a very serious subject matter. You deal with people's money. And, sometimes you need to tell them what you know, and it's not just about being a great connector. So is there a difference between being a knowledgeable, wise person in a business and being a master connector that connects them with everybody else that's out there in the world? Because don't you need the business yourself sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think both are important. Whatever you do, if you have to be to some degree a subject matter expert. But I would say that being a connector of some sorts, I think that wields more power, because there's always going to come a time where even as a subject matter expert, there's going to be things that you don't know. And if you don't know people and if you don't know how to get to the answers, that's going to be a problem. Whereas you can know Actually, very little, but if you know the right people and you know how to get to the right questions, you can still solve that person's problem. I mean, there's situations where I'm sitting with a client and I can answer all their questions. No problem, easy, not that complex. There's even having been an advisor for over 15 years, we advise on over $600 million of assets under management. You would think we know everything and there shouldn't be any question or thing that you can't handle. I mean, we recently came across a situation where, client we're, doing some work for, 5-6 year client came into a massive sum of money. I mean, roughly, multiple 10-figure liquidity event. And it wasn't the complexity that surrounded managing the money that was an issue. It was just that this particular client had some like administrative issues. Hey, who's going to file some of my international tax filings? Who's going to handle some of my K1s and the capital calls on my private investments? And like, we're not like fully set up to do all of that. So perfect example of like, if I didn't know the right people to get to help serve that client, like that would have been a lost opportunity. Right. So I think knowing people is very, very, both of those things go hand in hand, but knowing people and having the right connections is really, really important, especially at high levels of business.
So you had an opportunity when you launched your podcast to make a financial podcast or to make a podcast about your passion, which is the power of connections. And you had at the same time, probably you had the ability to write a book about financial planning, but you wrote a book called The Relationship Recession. It seems like that probably is working better for you to go down that path than go to the direct path of let me just teach everybody everything I know about finance. Because your competitive advantage is not that you know everything about finance, but you know everything about, or you're doing a great job with the connection. Is that fair?
Yeah. I think back to there was a quote in Steve Jobs' his biography, and he talked. I'm going to butcher the quote, but it was something to the effect of, "Hey, when you're walking through life, there's like a bunch of disparate dots, but it's only until you look backwards where you can see all the dots connect." And a lot of these things that I was working on, the podcast, which, you've been able to help me with, the book, the relationship recession, even some of these dinners that I do. I host these Jeffersonian dinners where I get like different people together and just incredible, intimate, powerful dinners and discussion. All of these are just like personal projects that I just did. I'm like, I kind of have an idea of why I'm doing it, but I just kind of want to do it. And then now it's like looking back, I'm 43, I'm going to be 44 pretty soon. I've been doing some of these projects for about 4 or 5 years now. And I'm like, oh, I get it. It's all pointing back to a common thread. It's like relationships. And wait a second, this is pointing to something more important on a personal level. Like, oh, maybe, yeah, life isn't just about building a bigger business. It's not even just about family. All of these things are very important. Don't get me wrong. But like now my life's purpose is actually being clarified here. Like I'm realizing, wow, my life's purpose is to really redirect people back to what I believe matters most, which is relationships. Nobody on their deathbed says, "Hey, Doug, I'm about to die. Can you go get my IRA statement one more time? I just want to see, like, is the market up 10%? Like, what's up? What's going on?" No one said, "Oh my gosh, like can I, look at my Instagram following right before I, pass?" Like,
right.
People want to know that their loved ones are close and the people that they cared about, like, care about them. Like, that's what people want to know at the end of their life. So for me, I'm realizing that's an important life calling, because I believe at this stage and where we're at in 2024, like in America, there's a bunch of issues. 50% of Americans report feeling less dissatisfied with the level of their relationships, and 57% of Americans report feeling lonely some or most of the time.
Wow.
There's 350 million Americans, 280 million are above the age of 18. So if we take the percentages on those numbers, that's over 140 million people that are saying these things. That's not a small number of people. That's like everybody.
Yeah. When did you realize that this was your thing? You didn't, go to fourth grade and say, you know what, I'm going to be a master connector. You might have not even said, hey, in fourth grade, I'm going to be a guy that manages people's portfolios. When did you realize that there is a strong connection between being a good connector and being someone that will be successful in business? Have you ever put those two together as strategic moves in order to help advance your business? I know that sounds kind of weird, but
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. No, a lot of that stuff is more like understood in hindsight rather than like looking forward and saying, oh, this is exactly what I'm good at and this is what I'm going to do.
right.
I think back to when I was 15, and I've shared this with you, Doug. My mom, my dad, and my brother went on a whitewater rafting trip in Wisconsin, and in a freak accident, we ended up losing her on that trip. She ended up drowning, and I think in that period of my life, I realized very quickly, very acutely, that life is very fragile. That this 40-year-old woman who, presumably might have lived another 30, 40 years, literally gone. And that taught me about not only the brevity of life, but living in intentionality with your relationships and not taking them for granted. So I think I understood that, at a young age. Again, not perfectly, but
Right.
understood the importance of that. So I've always valued relationships, understood why they were important. I've always just naturally just liked meeting different people and learning from them and sharing different things with them. I think later on, because of the experience and just my inclination and my personality, I just had a lot of different types of friends that I met through sports, friends that I met through traveling, different friends that have different ethnic backgrounds or cultural backgrounds. And so after, you kind of work and you build friendships and you do that for 30 years, you're like, wow, I know a lot of different types of people. And just having also a propensity to like want to solve problems for people, like that just makes me feel good. When you combine kind of a curiosity to help, to ask the right questions, to help people with a larger network of diverse friends, you realize, oh, wow, like I can do things for a lot of people. And in doing that, you realize, oh, that also helps me out too. And that's what I quickly realized when, I worked in corporate finance right out of college. And, that doesn't help you as much. But when I got into the financial advising business and I could directly apply, those problem solving skills with the network to my clients, then I quickly realized, oh, I'm valuable to people. This is not just like, oh, like I like to do it. Like people actually value this a lot.
Right.
Some people like want to work with you, not even because of your expertise and domain knowledge. They want to help. They want to work with you because you can help them with a bunch of other stuff too.
Right.
So I think a lot of that stuff was understood, like looking backwards, like, oh, this all just kind of fell into place,
I think a lot of people miss it though. A lot of people, as they are building their business, they're not focused on, certainly they know it's great to have connections and, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's great. But you actually sounds like you could have used it as part of your strategic advantage over competition, because there are lots of people that do what you do and you have to differentiate yourself somehow. So I would see that as a competitive advantage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I always kind of think now looking back and understanding how all this works, I always think of like a couple things. Number one, like three things as a part of like building a network, helping people, adding value, and growing something for yourself. I think number one, get great at asking like good questions, right? To understand where people's pain points are or where their aspirations lie. So that's number one. Number two is add value. Once you understand what that is, whether through your network or ways that you can solve that problem, add value to that person, right? Like it's right in front of you. But then I think the third thing is, and this is a concept I got from Adam Grant's book. I love Adam Grant. I was trying to get him on my podcast and he politely declined, but he responded. Very nice guy.
Keep plugging away, man. It's
I know, he's awesome.
He's going to have something he's going to need to promote at some point.
I know, Adam, if you're listening to this podcast, I've given away 200 of your books. So come on,
good
man.
for you.
That's got to mean something.
It's got to.
So I think the third thing here is understanding too how to build relationships with other givers, because I think where sometimes people and connectors and people that are helpful, where they go wrong is they help all the wrong people. The people that are taking advantage of them, the people that never want to help them in return. And what I've come to realize is, look, you want to do your best. First of all, like give everyone the benefit of the doubt, but you're proven wrong once, twice, three times. Someone's just kind of using you, not wanting to help you out in return. Spend your time elsewhere. There's opportunity cost in helping that type of person, right? Which is not getting to the people that you can help and they can help you in return, like as a win-win. So Yeah, so that's kind of, those are some of my thoughts around that.
Yeah. So how do you teach that? I know you're a dad. So I know, you try to, as I do with my kids. My kids are probably a little older than yours. Mine are 28 and 31. So I think about it and think about the lessons that I have learned myself that I try to then share with my kids and hopefully they'll grow from that. How do you teach that to your kids? Because it is such a esoteric, non-tangible skill that, well, I'll let you answer. How do you teach it to your
Yeah,
kids?
yeah. Well, first of all the answers are in my book, The Relationship
There
Recession.
you go. That's good. That's very good.
Thanks
We'll
for the
put it.
setup.
No, that was good. I didn't even know that was a
I
setup, but
mean,
that was
that
good.
would have been awesome if you actually scripted this out and I could deliver that seamlessly.
Nice,
But
nice guy community. I'll put a link in the show notes for not only Rich's podcast, but of course for his book as well, The Relationship Recession. Thank you
all
for
proceeds goes to Doug Sandler's charity. So like, look, I'm not trying to even make money from the book. I'm just trying to support people.
all of us authors aren't trying to make money from the book. We're just for me, I just wanted it to lead somewhere. I wanted it to make a good connection for me.
Oh my God. If I could recoup 20% of what I spent on the book in terms of time and energy,
Understood.
I'd be a
Understood.
millionaire.
Understood. But get back to your kids for a second. How do you
Yeah.
teach what you have learned to your kids when it comes
Yeah.
to connecting?
Really good thought. I think a couple things, because I'm thinking about this. I have a 4.5-year-old, a 2.5-year-old, and a newborn. And
Wow.
I'm constantly thinking about how can I teach
Right.
them and raise them, in the right way with the right values. Couple things. One, some of it is just putting it out there. Like one of the things that I tell my kids often are some of our core values in our household. Embrace failure. We
Mm,
do hard things. Be empowered to take responsibility, and create value creation. That's a huge one in our family, right? Because I think value creation is one of the most important and underrated concepts. People always talk about making money and being successful. If you create value for enough people, all those other things are going to come. You're going to make money. People are going to take care of you, right? So one of the things I'm telling my kids, I have an alarm on my phone, 4 p.m., 3:55, right before I go home.
hmm.
And it says those things. Why? It reminds me empowerment, create value, embrace failure. We do hard things. We take responsibility. I have that written on my phone to remind me so that I can
Amen.
actually integrate that in everything that I'm doing with my kids. Now, so that's number one. Number two, I model it, right? So for example, like as a part of creating value, I think an underrated hack, if you will, in creating value is asking good questions. Asking good questions does a couple things. Number one, it gives people a space to be heard. Don't underestimate the power of just listening to someone,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like you do that for me. Like right now, like as much as maybe hopefully someone gets value out of whatever I'm saying, the fact that you're listening to me, that there's an audience out there, like I feel good about that. You're creating value for me, right? So like one of the things that I do and trying to model that for my kids is at night we play this game like, hey, like it's the ask the question game. So I'll ask my kids like, binary questions like, hey, do you like popsicles or do you like playing at the park? And like I'm kind of having them rank things that they like. But what I started doing too, so it's a fun game before we go to sleep.
Yeah.
But what I started doing is, okay, hey, my oldest son, Lion, he's almost 5. I go, hey, dad always asks you the questions. Why don't you ask me the questions and ask Jack, our second, why don't you ask him some questions too? So now he's doing that. So I
Right.
don't think it's just about talking about the concepts. It's also about modeling it and getting other people involved. And then I think those two things are like really important in like raising our children.
What a great dad. I mean, and what a great way to do it. And I love that it's not just you're teaching them a lesson like you're talking from up here down to them. You're involving them in the process. And there's a lot of engagement in that. And I think that your kids in 10 years and 10, 20 years, whenever it is that they have their own kids, they're going to be sharing that with their kids as well. That's got to make you feel good.
There is nothing better. I mean, this, Doug. I mean, there's nothing better than, family and watching people grow up and spending time and having fun with it. And I think in all of it, especially with like young kids, just having fun with it. I think there's a part of me that's like, oh man, I want to train my kids up to be awesome students and great athletes and all these things. But like when they're young, they also want to have fun. So if it's not fun and it's just work, you're missing probably most of it,
Before we wrap up, I want to mention something because I would be remiss because you teed it up nicely, and I just kept running through, talking about your kids. But you mentioned that you get this automatic pop up that shows up on your phone at 3:55 or whenever it is, and here are the do hard thing or whatever they were. You just went through them. If those weren't questions already that you're asking your guests as you're sitting them in your podcast episode, that it could absolutely be the signature Rich Woo move. Do you already do that? You already ask them those things when they're sitting in the guest seat?
Asking them questions about like embracing failure and these things.
Yeah. So you could go through literally those. What are there four? Can you give me the four things again?
Yeah. Embracing failure. We do hard things. Taking responsibility and like empowerment, and creating value.
So you could basically say to your guest, Mr. Guest, pick any of these. I'm going to read four of these. Pick something of this list of four and tell me what you did in that category today. We do hard things, or embracing failure.
That's really good.
What failure
Yeah,
did you embrace today? Because when you do things like that, I see that as we're teaching a lesson. Not that we're using this as a teaching opportunity, but I may as well, right? If you share that with your audience, they're all going through the same shit that you and your guests are going through at the same time. And man, could a guest reflect on what did I do hard today, or what did I embrace that was failure today, or instead of beating myself up because of the failure I experienced today, maybe I just realized that I'm going to embrace it today. I'm not going to look at it as a negative. I'm going to look at it as I had to fail at something today. So here it was. I just see that as a great opportunity for you to share.
I love that. It could be like a potpourri question, like, "Hey, here are like three topics. Can you answer one in the context of relationships? Like,
all right,
where have you embraced failure? Where have you done a hard thing, or where have you created value?"
Perfect. All right, I'm going to do mine with you right now. Are you ready? Because I'm just doing this on the fly. So there's 3 D words. It's delete, delegate, and dream. Pick one of those words. Delete, delegate, and dream. Pick either any of those 3.
Dream.
Okay, so dream. So tell me what one of your dreams is.
I want to take my family on a safari to Africa. I've been on safari once. It was incredible. I want to take my 3 kids, my wife, and just go on like a week safari. And I think it would just be an incredible experience.
Anything holding you back from doing that?
A little bit of the hassle and convenience with young kids, but I'm going to do it. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when, and probably in the next 5 years. It's
a foregone conclusion. And when you paint it that way and you create that, I'm sure at some point there'll become if it's not called a vision board, there'll be that thing that you're going to create with your kids where they're bringing lions and giraffes and elephants to the picture mode. But all of that stuff, there's no doubt in my mind that safari is a part of your life. So when I say do your thing, normally I'll go through the delete, delegate, and dream, and I'll talk about each one of those with my guests. But I let you pick one because I see that as a potential opportunity for you to share some really cool stuff with your audience and learning something about your guests that you may not. That taught me just now.
I love that.
Probably leads with dreams. You probably do lead with dreams. I love that.
And dilly is like dilly-dally. Like, what do you do? Just kind of leisure fun.
Oh, wait. No, delete. Sorry. Delete.
Oh, okay. I heard dilly. I'm like, do a little dilly-dally. Delete, delegate. And you let them kind of like, it's really up to them how they want to interpret it.
Right. I'm going to ask you 3 Ds: delete, delegate, and dream. I want you to fill in the categories, and I'll spend 10 minutes during my episode and just go through that. But I like that we just created a new format for that, because I think with your 4, you'll discover something about that person sitting in the guest seat when they pick the one that top of mind for them. Oh shit, I failed at something today. Or
Doug, I didn't know this was going to be a masterclass I was a part of. Well, how much do I owe you?
It comes along with production, my friend. No worries at all. Okay, so a couple things. Nice Guy community, I want to make sure you have this. Make sure you check the link in the show notes. Access to Rich's podcast, of course. His book will be there. His website too. Just give me the 20-second commercial. I know this isn't an opportunity for you to expand about everything that you do, but I'd love the audience to know just what you do and who you serve. And that way, if somebody in my listening audience is interested in hearing more, they can reach out to you.
Yeah, I run a wealth advisory firm called Catalyst Planning Partners. Like Doug had mentioned, we're an 11-person team. We have offices and serve clients all over the United States. We have clients outside of the country as well. We advise on a little over $600 billion of assets under management, and we help with full financial planning. We serve business professionals, families, folks that are thinking about retirement, and business owners. And we just really, I think ultimately we care about helping clients spend less of their time thinking about their finances and more of their time living their life. And that's the leverage that we create for people.
Well, appreciate so very much your expertise and your ability to walk in the walk of being a master connector and being a podcast host, of course, author also. So, Rich, thanks for sharing your message and your wisdom on the show today.
Thanks, Doug.
Hey, Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice or the power of making a really excellent connection. Special thanks to Rich Wu. All of his information, including access to all of those things I just mentioned, just click the link in the show notes right down there. Okay, Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
You've put enough in little Johnny's 529. Now, it's time to really help out someone in need. The Nice Guys on Business need your support. Please go to patreon.com, and for as little as $2 a month, you can help these guys continue to ramble on and on and on, week after week after week. Thank you for your support. And boy, is it weak.